Hello everyone, welcome to 6.7, add and subtract mixed numbers. The essential question is, how can you add and subtract mixed numbers with unlike denominators? The steps which you need to write down are find the common denominator, same steps as before, whatever factor you multiply each denominator by, you need to multiply your numerators by that same factor. And the third step is to add and subtract whole numbers. If the fraction numerator is greater than the denominator, you need to convert it. And we'll talk about that when we get into it, okay? So there's the steps right there if you need to pause. We have 3 examples. We're going to start with example 1. So example 1 is 1 4/5 plus 2 1/10. So I'm going to take 1 4/5 plus 2 1/10. I'm going to really not worry about these mixed numbers, or these whole numbers right now. Okay, just pretend they don't exist. Let's just pretend that we have 4/5 plus 1/10. Now, does 5 go into 10? Absolutely. You can take 4/5, multiply each one by 2, 5 times 2, 4 times 2, to get you 8/10. Now that we have 8/10, we're ready to add. So now, instead of 1 4/5, we're going to have 1 8/10 plus 2 1/10. And let's go ahead and add. We're going to add the numerators only. 8 plus 1 is 9. Denominators stay the same. And now we bring back these whole numbers and we just add the whole numbers. 1 plus 2 is 3. And that is our final answer, 3 9/10. Okay? If you need to see that again, go ahead and rewind. But that's how you do it. You need to convert these fractions first. Forget the whole numbers until the very end. Oh, sorry about that. Until the very end, okay? Then you add them back on. So you don't have to worry about the third step on this one because the numerator was 9/10. It wasn't greater than the denominator. If this numerator gets bigger than the denominator, that's when you need to convert it. And I'll show you how to do that in example 3, because example 3 is when we're going to do that. So let's go ahead and do example number 2. This is 4 5/6 minus 2 3/4. So you got 4 5/6 minus 2 3/4. You need to find a common denominator. Now, I know that they both have a common denominator of 12. Okay? And I know 5/6, you need to multiply the 5 and the 6 by 2, and that gets you 10/12. And 3/4, you need to multiply the 4 and the 3 by 3, and that gets you 9/12. And now I subtract. 10 minus 9 is 1/12. 4 minus 2 is 2. So I got 2 and 1/12 as my final answer. And that's example number 2. And if you have any questions on these, make sure you write them down. Let's go ahead and do an example number 3. Like I said, most of this is just adding and subtracting the fractions. Don't worry about the whole numbers too much. It's pretty much the same as before. Okay, so let's go ahead and do example number 3. 7 2/5 plus 4 3/4. Well, we need to find a common denominator between 5 and 4. I know that 20 is a common denominator between them both. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and have that. And I multiply 5 by 4 and 2 by 4. And I multiply the 4 by 5 and 3 by 5 to get 20. So 4 times 5 is 20. 3 times 5 is 15. 5 times 4 is 20. 2 times 4 is 8. And now I add. Okay, 8 plus 15 is going to be 23. No, I'm sorry. 23/20. Okay, 7 plus 4, the 7 and 4, is going to be 11. Now, here's the deal. My numerator is bigger than my denominator. Therefore, I need to convert it. Here's how you convert it. You want to find out what's your denominator. Well, my denominator is 20. What's my numerator? 23. So out of 23 and 20, I have 3 left over. So what happens is your 3 becomes your new numerator, and this 20 that you're taking out of 23 gets added into the whole number. Because that's having, it's like if I have, well, you're having more than a fraction now. You have a whole number. Whenever the numerator is equal to the denominator, that's one whole number. So like 20 over 20 is equal to 1 whole. Well, since it's 23 over 20, the 3 is going to be the new numerator, and the 20 is still going to be the same denominator, and that 1 whole is going to be added to the 11. So my new answer, I'm going to erase, so if you need to pause, go ahead. But my new answer is 12 and 3 over 20. Okay? Once again, I had 11 and 23 over 20. I know that 20 over 20 equals 1. Therefore, I'm going to subtract 23 minus 20. I have 3 left over. That goes to my numerator. The 20 over 20, which is the 1, gets added to the 11 to make it 12. And the denominator stays the same. So my new answer is 12 and 3 over 20. All right, please let me know if you have any questions, especially for example number 3. That might seem a little difficult, but really all you need to know is if the numerator is bigger than the denominator, you need to convert it, which means you need to find out, okay, and I'll give you another example. If I had 11 over 10, well, I know the 11 is bigger than the 10, so I need to subtract 11 minus 10. That gives me 1 whole and 1 over 10. Okay, because when I subtract 11 minus 10, I get 1. So I have the 1 whole, because that gets added, and the 1 that I used in my subtraction becomes the new numerator, and the denominator stays the same. Okay, and that's really a really short tutorial on how to convert. So if you have any questions on how to convert, questions on how to add and subtract the whole numbers with the fractions, please write them down and let me know tomorrow. All right, guys, that's it for today's video. Thank you for watching. Have a good one.